Hey, what is up, mortals? It is JessicaGem here with a new video for you. Welcome to part number 4 of Season 2 of What If Deku Met Ryoko. I just wanted to greet you guys by saying, sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. And so, we begin. The first round of the sports festival tournament had nearly concluded. The only thing that needed to be decided was the match between Kirishima and Tetsu. Midnight decided that the two boys would arm wrestle for the spot. While the battle of wills, and arms, was going on, All Might had taken Melissa to get her hand checked out. Not that he lacked faith in Midoriya's healing ability, but the number one figured that it was better safe than sorry. As Recovery Girl checked out Melissa's recovered injuries, the blonde girl explained to her master what had happened. You see, Uncle Might, there were these 8 figures that appeared before me. One of them kind of looked like you. They all stared at me with these eerie, glowing eyes. It was at that point All for One activated, and I broke my fingers. All Might nodded in understanding. This is nothing to worry about, Melissa. I had a similar episode when I was starting out. You did? Yes. I think it's a remnant of the previous user's consciousness is still in the quirk. This is a sign that your body and mind are adjusting to it. These visions will not hamper your progress going forward. That is good to hear. The whole thing had me a little worried. All Might then turned to Recovery Girl. So, Doc, how is Melissa? She is in perfect shape. I'm amazed by Midoriya's healing ability. Not only did he heal Melissa's injuries, I dare say that her arms and hands are stronger than they were before. That is amazing. Melissa, why don't you go rejoin your classmates before the next rounds begin? The intelligent girl nodded in agreement. I would like that. Thank you both. As the blonde girl ran out of the room with a glowing smile on her face, All Might couldn't help but smile at himself. She is a lucky girl. Yes, she is. She has something I never did. Powerful allies that can fight beside her. She will not have to face the evil of the world alone as I did. Giving her One for All was the best decision I could have made. It must be nice to see that you did inspire new heroes to reach higher by being the symbol of peace. I had my doubts. Most of the current heroes have just grown to rely on me as their savior. But when I look at this new generation, I see hope and courage. Maybe they can fix the injustice that I was unable to. Indeed. Melissa rejoined her friends in the stand as the crowd let out a powerful cheer. The arm wrestling match between Kirishima and Tetsu had just ended, with Kirishima being declared the victor. Hey guys, what's happening? Her classmates all turned to see the blonde girl's smiling face. Mina Ashido leapt from her seat. Melissa, I'm so glad you're all right. We were all getting worried. Everything is fine, Ashido. All Might just wanted to have Recovery Girl check me out. Well, that is good to hear. By the way, your match against that Shinso guy was amazing. I'm glad that I won, although it is a little bittersweet. Ryoko commented. Right, that means you'll have to face Izuku in the next round. That should be a match worth seeing. Midoriya sat listening to this exchange. He didn't like the idea of facing off against his friend. While he was healing her fingers after the first match, he knew something was up. In fact, the teen could tell from the look on Melissa's face that she had something on her mind. Normally, the upbeat girl's face radiated an aura of positive energy that made even sunny days brighter. But now, her upbeat attitude was laced with an undercurrent of doubt and concern. Even with those feelings, Midoriya knew that not giving the match his all would be the worst insult. Melissa was a powerful and capable hero in training just like him. She had earned her place in this tournament. Midoriya rose from his seat and approached the group around Melissa. Ryoko is right, Melissa. All of his classmates, including Melissa, looked at the approaching teen. You did well in the first match, but you didn't get to showcase your full power. I say we change that in our match. Really, Midoriya? Do you think that's a good idea? I do. Ryoko smiled at her two classmates. "He is right, girl. Everyone in Japan deserves to know how awesome you are." The aqua-eyed girl nodded in agreement. "Okay, Midoriya, let's give it our all. No holding back." Midoriya extended his fist toward Melissa. The girl smiled and returned the gesture with a gentle but firm bump. The voice of Midnight then came over the speakers. "With that, the lineup for the next round is decided. We will take a few moments to get the ring ready. All of the participants for the next round get ready. We'll begin shortly." In short order, the ring was repaired and Midnight called for the next match to begin. "Our first match of the second round will be Izuku Midoriya versus Melissa Shield." The crowd exploded in riotous applause. Everyone was on the edge of their seats waiting to see how this round would go. Many were leaning toward Midoriya since he fought and defeated Todoroki. Many more were not so sure. "All right, you both know the rules. Let the match begin." The two teens wasted no words. Both took their fighting stances. Midoriya drew Tenchi from his belt and placed the blade in stun mode. Melissa activated One for All. A field of energy coated her body, red lightning sparking off of her skin. After a moment of staring each other down, the teens charged each other. Midoriya swung Tenchi in a blinding flurry of slashes. These blows would have hit any other opponent several times, but not Melissa. The brave girl used her increased speed to dodge Izuku's strikes. Midoriya jumped back a few feet and put some distance between him and his opponent. "Excellent dodging, but you missed one." Melissa stood a few feet away, clenching her arm. A slash had made a glancing blow across her left bicep. The limb hung limp by her side. She tried to hide it, but a wince of pain came to her face. The determined girl took several breaths. Feeling returned to her arm. She opened and closed her hand several times. "So this is what it's like to get hit by Midoriya's sword on stun," she thought to herself. "I would hate to feel it at full power." Even with her strength and endurance, she couldn't let too many of those hits land. If she did, then the match would end. Melissa decided it was best to go on the offensive. Running towards Izuku at full speed, she launched a wave of punches that flew by the boy's head and body at a rate that would make most people dizzy. Using his martial arts training, Izuku dodged and counterattacked. The teen used the Light Hawk power to create a small shield of light on his left arm. He then used the shield to block several of the incoming attacks. However, the force of the blows was too much for the shield to take. It shattered after a few moments. Izuku managed to veer out of the way of the remaining hits. Izuku knew that Melissa was powerful, but this was beyond what he expected. He figured she had been training really hard since the USJ. The Greenette knew he wasn't going to defeat her on the ground. He knew it was time to bring out his airboard. Izuku focused his Lighthawk power and condensed the air in front of him into a solidified state. He then jumped onto the object and hovered about a foot off the ground. "I was wondering when you were going to pull that out." "No holding back, right?" "Right." The combat began again. This time, Midoriya had the upper hand. His airboard gave him better mobility. The green teen was better able to dodge Melissa's strikes, which were growing in power as they fought. He also delivered several stun slashes against his opponent. Melissa ignored the shocking pain of the strike from Tenchi. She became so focused on the battle that everything else faded away. The only thing her eyes and mind saw was the figure of Midoriya surfing through the air around her strikes. The intelligent girl managed to land a few hits against the green teen, but all of them were glancing blows. If she couldn't get a direct hit on him, then he would wear her down with his sword strikes until she couldn't move and the match would be called. Melissa thought to herself, "I need to keep him on the ground. I need to catch him." Suddenly, a dark energy started to seep from Melissa's arm. It shot out and wrapped itself around Midoriya's waist. A voice boomed in the back of Melissa's mind. "Number 9, take my power and win this fight." The confused girl thought she was losing her mind. However, she was in the middle of a fight. she decided that she should focus on the match first, and the voice later. With the black tendrils wrapped around Midoriya, Melissa yanked with all of her might and ripped the green teen off of the airboard. She then slammed her opponent into the ring floor. This kicked up a huge cloud of dust. Melissa could feel that this new power was about to go out of control. She begged the power to remain calm. With those thoughts, a door shut in her mind and the dark energy disappeared. As the dust settled, Midoriya stood on the ring floor breathing heavily, covered in scrapes and bruises from Melissa's throw. "That was some incredible power, Melissa. I didn't know you could do that." "Neither did I." In fact, the members of 1A all had expressions of surprise and shock on their faces. Many of the more exuberant members were visibly freaking out. Both teens stood in the ring, breathing heavily. Midoriya smiled at his friend and opponent. "I can tell we're both on our last legs. Let's finish this off with a bang." "Agreed." Both teens focused all of their remaining energy to form powerful finishing moves. Midoriya used his Lighthawk power to change Tenchi from a dueling sword to a broadsword that was as long and wide as his body. He then focused all of his energy into the blade. At the same time, Melissa focused all of her power into her arm. Red lightning jumped and sparked from the appendage. The two competitors charged each other. Melissa threw her punch and yelled at the top of her lungs, "California Smash!" Midoriya also swung his empowered blade in a wide arch. The greenette shouted, "Lighthawk Slash!" Melissa's fist and Midoriya's blade made contact in the middle of the arena. The air became filled with the smell of burning copper and ozone as the attacks collided. The clashing energies caused a whirlwind of air pressure to shoot out and pin the audience to their seats. For several minutes, Midoriya's massive glowing sword and Melissa's energized fist pushed against each other. Both teams tried to gain the upper hand, but both remained planted in place. The will to win hadn't gone out of either of them. Both knew that it was now the time to go beyond Plus Ultra. Melissa was already using 30% of One for All, but she knew she needed more to win the match. This was a dangerous thing to do, but it had to be done. She increased her output to 40%. Midoriya was in the same boat. He reached into himself and drew out more of the Lighthawk power. Upon doing so, his mind and body screamed in protest. Both felt like they would be overtaken by the influx of energy. However, Midoriya refocused his mind and remained in control. The teen then focused his power into his sword, and the blade glowed brighter with the new power. The audience was left speechless. The crowd could only watch as the two attacks continued to collide. Many of them still remembered Midoriya's battle against Todoroki and the massive attacks that happened then. Now to see that another student from his own class was on that level of power was incomprehensible. The whole audience was thinking, what are they teaching these kids? After a few minutes, the strain became too much for Melissa. Her arm started to turn a nasty shade of purple from the force of her blow. This moment gave Midoriya the opening to get inside Melissa's guard and deliver the finishing blow. The green teen hit her with a dynamic slash across her midsection. A stunning current flowed through Melissa's body. The girl tensed for a few moments as she tried to stay upright, but finally she passed out and fell to the ring floor. Midoriya stood with a smile on his face for a moment, believing that he had won. Suddenly, his vision got blurry, his legs wobbly and his grip loosened, causing him to drop Tenchi. Midoriya's eyes went blank, and he passed out cold on the ring floor. Honey is a free browser add-on available on Google, Opera, Firefox, Safari. If it's a browser, it has Honey. Honey automatically saves you money when you check out on sites like Amazon, Papa John's, Kohl's. Wherever you shop, it's a good chance that Honey can save you money. All you have to do when you're checking out at these major sites is click that little orange button and it'll scan the entire internet to find discount codes for you. It takes 2 clicks to install Honey. If there's a coupon code, they'll find it, and if there's not a coupon code, you can rest assured that you're getting the best price possible and there's not a better one available for that site. If you install Honey right now, you can save dozens of dollars on your shopping doing nothing. There's literally no reason not to install Honey. It takes 2 clicks, over 10 million people use it, 100,000 5-star reviews? Unless you hate money, you should install Honey. Midnight inspected the students. She could tell they were both alive, but both were completely drained of energy. She wasn't surprised by this. These two had given everything to win this match. If the lineup had been different, this would have been a great finish to the tournament. But this was the outcome, and delaying it would only hold up the proceedings. Midnight stood up and looked at the crowd. The match between Izuku Midoriya and Melissa Shield is a double knockout. This announcement shocked the crowd. Many of their jaws hung open in surprise, their eyes wide in amazement. Midnight continued. While it is true that Melissa Shield did pass out first, I have judged that both competitors are too injured to continue the tournament. For their own safety, they need to be healed and allowed to rest. The crowd didn't like this answer, but most understood. While they would have all liked to see one of the students compete in another round, none of them wanted them to risk permanent injury. The medical bot scooped up the 2 students and took them to see Recovery Girl. Up in the stands, All Might looks over at Katsuhito. That was a fearsome battle. Indeed, they both gave it their all. Even with that, my grandson will be upset that he didn't win. Melissa will probably be the same. Both of them have such potential, but we must not forget that they are still so young. True, but if we did our parts right, then they will go on to be heroes that outshine us. That would be a bright future indeed. Both men got up and headed to Recovery Girl's temporary office. A short while later, the rest of the tournament got underway. However, with both Midoriya and Melissa being ruled unable to continue, Midnight and the other teachers had to make some changes to account for the odd number of double matches. Midnight took her place in the center of the ring. She took a deep, cleansing breath to calm herself. Thank you for your cooperation, ladies and gentlemen. Because both Midoriya and Melissa Shield cannot continue, we've decided that the 3 remaining matches will be combined to form 2 3-on-3 matches. The winners of these 2 matches will go on to fight in the final round. The first match pitted Ryoko, Kaminari, and Kirishima against each other. Ryoko quickly knocked Kaminari out of the ring while he was trying to ask her out. She then came to blows with Kirishima. The redhead did everything in his power to end the match quickly. The problem was, Ryoko saw what her classmate was doing. She then unleashed a powerful barrage of energy blasts. The force of these blasts made it impossible for Kirishima to land a finishing blow on Ryoko. The boy's quirk ran out of time and he passed out. Ryoko was named the winner of the first match. The second match featured Bakugo, Ida, and Tokiyomi. Most of the 1A members and the audience had an idea of how this match would go. They were not wrong. Bakugo did find it hard to face 2 people at once. Both Ida and Tokiyomi attacked so quickly, but Bakugo wasn't going to give up that easily. After a short period of analysis, he had a plan. He lured Ida to the edge of the ring and threw him out, and he then focused on Tokiyomi. The bombastic teen launched a rapid fire of explosive attacks at his raven-headed classmate. Bakugo then pinned Tokiyomi to the ground and held a glowing explosion in his other hand. Tokiyomi surrendered, making Bakugo the winner. A short break was taken to allow the competitors to prepare for the final match. Bakugo went to the locker room to stretch and prepare himself mentally. Ryoko decided to go and check on Izuku and Melissa. The white-haired girl burst into the clinic. Where's Izuku? How's he doing? Ryoko saw that both of her friends were laying on stretchers, out cold. Both All Might and Katsuhito sat by their bedsides, keeping watch over their successors. Recovery Girl got an irritated look on her face. "Young lady, how dare you barge in here like a bull on fire? Both of these youngsters need peace and quiet." "I'm sorry, ma'am. I was just worried about them." "That is no excuse. Be more mindful next time." After a few moments, Recovery Girl calmed down and saw the look on Ryoko's face. A concerned face with large puppy dog eyes. "Just so you know, they are both fine. They were covered in minor bumps and scrapes. Melissa's right arm was covered in severe bruises, but she didn't have any broken bones. The most concerning thing is that both are still unconscious, and I do not know why." Katsuhito got up from his chair and walked over to the scene. "Ryoko, I can assure you that neither of your friends is in trouble." "Really, old man? How do you know?" "Because I am an old man who has seen many things, so take my word for it." That seemed to be enough for Ryoko. The girl relaxed a little after hearing it. "Now do me and Izuku a favor. Go and win the tournament. Congratulations on your victory, by the way." "Okay, I will." With those encouraging words, Ryoko left to make her way to the arena. Recovery Girl looked at the gray-haired man. "That was a nice thing you did for her, but you should not have made such claims." "They were not claims. I can tell that neither of the children are in danger, but I will help you heal their wounds, minor though they may be." "How are you going to do that?" "Your ability accelerates the healing process using the body's own energy, am I right?" "That is correct." "Well, the ability I'm going to use does not have that restriction." "Your ability is like your grandson's." "Similar indeed. He is far more powerful, though. It took me many years to master the healing arts to the degree that he has." "Okay, but you're going to have to tell me how it works at some point." "I would be happy to, dear lady." Katsuhito set to work. Back in the ring, Bakugo and Ryoko stood facing each other. The match had started and the crowd was going wild. "I didn't expect to be facing off against you, wild hair." "I could say the same, bomb boy." "I was hoping to face against Deku or Icy Hot, but this works too. I can pay you back for the beating you gave me during the combat exercise." "Then let's make this a good match." Midnight snapped her whip, and the fight started. Both students took to the air, Ryoko using her flight power and Bakugo using his explosions. The two went on the offensive. They would attack and then back off. Ryoko used her energy blasts to keep her distance. However, Bakugo knew what she was doing and closed in. The teen then delivered a powerful explosion palm strike against Ryoko. Her vision went white as the flash enveloped her line of sight. The force sent the girl flying backward towards the edge of the ring. The audience gasped audibly at the sight of Ryoko zooming toward the boundary at breakneck speed. At the last moment, Ryoko snapped to her vision clearing. This turn allowed her to regain her orientation. She quickly used her flight power to redirect her momentum and to stay in the ring. Ryoko landed in the middle of it, and Bakugo landed near her. The two wasted no time and restarted the battle. They exchanged several volleys of explosions and energy blasts. An odd member of the audience remarked how this match reminded them of their favorite anime, and the battle raged. Ryoko could tell that Bakugo was not playing around. The girl hadn't been that impressed by Bakugo. She had found him too full of himself. In her life, she had found that that kind of attitude would get you killed sooner or later. While Ryoko gave off a devil-may-care attitude, she didn't take people for granted. Her life had been one where a wrong move would get you imprisoned, or worse, killed. The feisty girl cleared those thoughts from her mind and reconsidered her options. She could defeat him easily, going all out, but not without killing him. She figured the teachers wouldn't like that. That left her with only one choice. Ryoko placed her hands in front of her and channeled all of her spare power into the space between her palms. The sphere glowed a menacing red. Bakugo saw this and knew that this must be a finishing move. He then decided that he wouldn't be outdone by Deku. This would be a flashy finish for the ages. Bakugo used his explosions to lift himself into the air. He then began to spin at an insane speed. A cloud of gray smoke swirled around him like a tornado. The sight was a fearsome one. Ryoko gathered her energy as Bakugo flew at her. The ball of power's color shifted from a dull red to a bright red. This meant that the attack was ready. Ryoko drew back her right hand with the orb in it. She would have only one shot at this. Bakugo flew at her at a dizzying rate. Ryoko threw her sphere at Bakugo. The force behind the throw nearly set the air on fire. Bakugo saw the attack coming, but he couldn't change course. He knew the only way was to plow through it. Bakugo released a powerful explosion from his hands as he yelled, "Howitzer Impact!" The clash of attacks released a wave of red and orange light, along with a cloud of smoke. These two factors made it where the audience could not see what was going on in the ring. After several minutes, the smoke cleared. Bakugo was laying on the ground, red electricity sparking off of his skin. His body spasmed and jerked. Midnight walked over to check out the fallen boy. She found him stunned, but alive. That does it, ladies and gentlemen. The winner of the UA Sports Festival is Ryoko. The crowd burst forth in a symphony of applause. Ryoko smiled at the attention. Then she realized that Izuku hadn't seen her victory. This thought made her sad until she remembered Inko. Ryoko had talked to the kind woman a few days ago, when Inko had told her that she was planning to record the festival. This thought made Ryoko happy again. She would just have to rewatch the day's events with Izuku. That would be a lot of fun. The award ceremony took place in short order. Ryoko was given a gold medal. Bakugo got the silver, but the teachers did have to chain him up because he was so angry at having lost the match. Ida and Tokoyami tied for third place. However, Ida was not at the ceremony. The engine youth had received an emergency call from his mother. Apparently his brother, Ingenium, had been seriously injured by a villain. Ryoko and Uraraka were very worried about their friend. They knew how much Ida looked up to his brother. In the nurse's office, Izuku had woken up, finally. He wanted to heal Melissa's wounds, even though he could barely stand. Katsuhito held his grandson in place with a firm hand. "Fear not, grandson. I've already repaired your friend's wounds. All she needs now is rest. Besides, you can barely stand up." "I guess you're right, Grandpa." The weary teen fell back onto the bed. "Rest for a little while longer, then I will take you home." The old man turned to Recover Girl and asked a question. "Will that be okay, ma'am?" "Of course. Just make sure he doesn't do any training for the next 2 days. And do not forget about what we discussed earlier." "Of course, I will keep my word. Thank you." Meanwhile, Melissa found herself in a dark place. A tall man with a shaved head stood before her. "So, you are the 9th holder of One for All. You are not what I was expecting. Well, we need to talk." Thank you all for sticking around, and I hope that you've enjoyed. Before you leave, we would just like to let you know that We the Celestials has many other channels for your entertainment and viewing purposes. All the information you'll need is right below here in the description, so feel free to check out all the other incredible projects our team creates. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. That's all for today's video, so farewell and have a divine day.